All right, guys, thanks for tuning in today. Today we're going to work on the closed guard position, particularly how to maintain the closed guard position. Now we're going to work on it in two parts. Today's video is going to be focused on the bottom position, and then in a later part of this series we're going to talk about the top position. So with that said, you'll see part 2 come out later on this week. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, strangle the follow button, like button, notification bell, etc. So that you don't miss it. Okay, so again, we're going to be talking about the closed guard position and just kind of how to maintain the closed guard position from the bottom. And later on, we'll talk about the top. So the closed guard position, in my opinion, is one of the best guards to be learning, especially as a beginner. It's the guard, and I always say this, it's the guard that allows you to control the most variables. Okay. In open guard, even half guard, there's more variables, less connection that you have to focus on. So especially as a beginner, the closed guard is one of those prime positions that you need to be focused on, and everything else will kind of follow, right? So some of the major challenges with the closed guard position are going to include, well, obviously somebody trying to get out, but making sure that you can keep a solid position, keep your partner between your legs, and kind of just, what's the word I'm looking for? Reduce the likelihood of them being able to escape. Okay, so we're going to talk about the closed guard position just real briefly from the top, just to kind of get you to understand. So the closed guard position, Bryson's going to have his legs wrapped around my body. So in this position, I'm not mobilized. So some of the issues, and we'll get more into these details later on in the week, but some of these details here is just managing to keep your elbows in and behind your hips. Okay. Now the problem with the closed guard position is if somebody knows how to escape, right, they're going to be able to start putting pressure on those back feet. Okay. So right here, I'm purposely stopping, and what I want you to pay attention to is Bryson's feet. As I start putting pressure backwards slowly, the tension starts to build in his feet, making it harder and harder for him to maintain. Now, we're going to talk about this in just a second, but if I am able to unlock my partner's guard before he's able to establish a new guard, then he's going to be in some trouble. Okay, I'm already going to have the initiative when it comes to passing. Okay, so we're going to start off in the closed guard position. And the first thing that I want to talk about is just making sure that you have a good enough control of his body. Okay. Now, from here, I want to make sure that my guard is locked. Sometimes people try to lock it down here, but I like to get as high up as I can. Which, if he's postured up, makes it harder. If he's postured down, then I can get my guard even higher, and it works out pretty well. But if he starts to posture back, right, I at least want to make sure that I'm able to lock my legs up. And part of that is just simply bringing your hips closer to your partner's hips, okay? When you actually do this too, it makes it heavier on your partner. So if he was actually trying to stand up right now, it's much more difficult, okay? So just bringing your partner's hips to his hips is going to make your guard a lot tighter. Now, one thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to squeeze your legs. I found out the hard way in one of my blue belt competitions. I thought I could just squeeze my partner's ribs, and I ended up just kind of hurting my VMOs, the inside muscle of the knee, okay? So don't get here and try to squeeze your partner. It's not really gonna be worth the effort. So first thing is I wanna make sure that my partner's not able to make grips. Oftentimes they're gonna do one of a few things. One, we're gonna go collar grip, pant grip, okay? Another thing that they might try to do is establish control on the insides of my armpits here, okay? Another thing that they might try to do is make a collar grip and a sleeve, or a lapel grip and a sleeve grip, okay? So number one thing is I always want to make sure that I'm avoiding my partner's ability to make control. Some things that you can do here is just some simple swimming on the inside, off balancing with the legs, and now I've got arms exposed, okay? If he makes grips on my collar, then I want to address that. You can go cross sleeve grip, come underneath, break, and then obviously go into some more off balancing here to start your attacks, okay? If he has his hands on my hips, okay, don't try to pull straight. You're gonna open up your arms outward just to break that control, and now you have the arms isolated, and you can start to attack from there, okay? So those are just a few of the ways that you can keep your partner from trying to make control. Also notice that whenever we get to the guard position, always bring in my hips closer to his hips, so that way I can have a better guard here. Okay, I don't want to be further out. It's going to put more tension on my legs, plus it allows my partner to move more. The next thing here, okay, if he tries to get his knee in my hip, right, whichever one,
he brings that knee out. What's gonna happen is there's gonna be a lot of tension in my feet. So if he does manage to get to this position, you can just shimmy your hips back in center and make him have to do it again, okay? That way. So he puts his knee in my hip, he starts to rotate out. So as I'm here, shimmy my hips back, and that's gonna help me maintain the guard position a little bit more, okay? Now, the next stuff is just off balancing. I did another video, you can probably find it, the links, I'll try to link it below. But I did another video on just basic off balancing from the guard position. One challenge here is that people always pull against the frame, okay? You wanna think about off balancing as going above your partner's body. So don't pull down, pull up and above your head, okay? Now, the next thing I want to talk about here is just the basic retention, okay? Now, I'm going to ask Bryson to do it slowly so you can see the tension in my feet. So as he starts to move away, you'll start to see my feet kind of slip off, okay? So one thing that helped me out a lot, I think I learned this when I was a blue belt, is whatever guard I'm playing, as he starts to go, I'll start to feel that tension in my feet. Before it breaks, I'm actually gonna open my guard and put my feet on his hips, and now I can start playing open guard, okay? So what that is actually allowing me to do is it's allowing me to be proactive in the event that my guard's about to get broken, okay? As I mentioned earlier in the video, I don't want my guard to be broken by somebody else. If he's gonna break it and I'll feel my toes start to slip off, if he's gonna break it, then I want to transition to an open guard before he's able to actually break the guard. So what that looks like in contrast is, one, he opens up my guard on his own accord, so go. He opens up my guard. Now I'm fighting from here, and the ability for me to get my feet is gonna be, no, I'm not gonna be able to get my legs back in front, okay? It's gonna be much harder. Two, if he starts to open up the guard, and I open up for him, now I've got my legs on the inside and I can start playing open guard much more efficiently, okay? So you want to think about that. Anytime you're struggling to keep your guard locked, you have to understand that at a certain point, your opponent might actually break the guard. Don't let it get to the point where your guard's broken for you, okay? If your toes are slipping off, just open up your legs, put them back on the hips, and you'll be able to play guard much more effectively, okay? So the last thing here is standing up. So I don't want to talk too much about this. I don't want to go too in depth in this video, but standing up here, okay? The other way my partner's going to try to break is by trying to stand up, okay? So if he's able to stand up, 1, 2, now it's going to be much harder for me to play guard, especially if he knows what he's doing, okay? I can try to take the same idea here and open up my legs, but at this point here, he's going to get control of the inside much better, and now I'm going to be operating from behind, all right? So one quick tactic, whenever you're in the bottom position, he starts to stand up, is I always try to hook the leg. At this point here, he's off balance. He's gonna realize, oh, I've got the leg control, and very often what you'll find is that they'll put the knee back down, and now you can start getting back into your guard again. So he starts to step up, I come under, and I start to attack. He's gonna get that leg right back down, and now I can start to attack again, okay? So those are just some quick tips to help you out with maintaining the closed guard position. The next video in this series will be part 2. We'll talk about all this from the top player's perspective. Basically, little tips on how to maintain your balance and stay on top in the closed guard position. So I hope this helped. Again, if you liked the video, be sure to follow the channel, subscribe to it, turn on the notification bell. Also, if you want to support the channel, check out the links in the description. If you like this content, you're going to love the private newsletter that I've got, so go into the description, click that link. There's a lot more like this, even better. So check it out. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to stick around for the next video coming up later this week.